The story about Abraham saying his wife was his sister, you referred to that as him making a mistake. I'm not quite sure I understand how you're reading that as a mistake, seeing as it was a very deliberate decision and it had a pretty good outcome for him, and he does the same thing a few chapters later.
Yes, this is true. You see, I don't feel that I've cracked that part of that story properly. Now, the reason I said it was a mistake is because it's clearly an act of deceit. And it does put the Pharaoh in a very awkward position, not to mention Sarai, by the way. How do you say that? I don't know how to say that. Sarai? Sarai. It's Sarai to begin with, yes? Is that right, Sarai? Yes, okay. And then it's Sarah. So Abram means high king, something like that. And Abraham means father of the people. And Sarai means princess. And Sarah means mother of the people. I have it exactly right. I'll tell you next week, but that's part of the name transformation. It seems to me that at least in part, it's an indication of Abraham's willingness to use a suboptimal solution when driven to it by necessity. I don't think it's a heroic act to pretend that your wife is your sister. Now, and maybe you might say, well, under the circumstances, there was nothing else he could have done. But it does seem, I can't see how you can interpret it other than as a departure from the truth. But I know that that's not all there is to it, and it does seem to work out well for him. And my interpretation is that, well, if you're oriented properly in the world, the grace of God allows you a few necessary mistakes, something like that. Do you have an alternative idea? Well, why not? What is it about that? Is it because it's Abraham and it isn't reasonable to attribute mistakes to him, or what is it?
It's because, at least I think it says in the text, that he's looking to get out of a bad situation and he does whatever is the best thing that's available to him. And not to mention, as I said, he does the same trick a few chapters later. Yeah, well, maybe it is the case that, it's like a white lie issue. You say, well, is a white lie acceptable? I would say, well, the best that you can come up with is acceptable. That doesn't mean it's optimal, though, right? Like, I'll give you a foolish example because it's the best that I can do at the moment. But if you have a loved one who says, "Does this dress make me look fat?" The answer to that question is, I don't answer questions like that. That's the answer, right? Because the other answer is the white lie. I mean, at least in this context. And that means that on the one hand, you're maintaining the positive contract between you and the person who's asking the question, but then you're still sacrificing the truth within that. So you're maintaining your relationship with the higher order truth, but sacrificing a lower order truth. And that would be better than the reverse, but it's not as good as not sacrificing the truth at all. And I would say that if you're maybe fortunate, because sometimes it's a matter, because you can be in a situation where all your choices are bad. I've seen people in situations like that. I've probably been in situations like that. And maybe that is what's happening in that story, is every choice Abraham has in front of him is bad. But I can't help but think that it's more than that. It means that if you're doing the best you can, and it's not perfect, it can still be good enough. That's how it looks to me. Thank you.